various cities all over the globe, then yes, like they do for crowd control with some of the systems that they already use to, for example, we discovered Operation Crimson Mist that was used in the mid-90s in Central Africa, where they use microwaves to fly over the Hutu and the Tutsi tribes, and they beamed the frequencies on the Hutus, and they literally slaughtered the Tutsis. That was that huge Rwanda genocide. So you're seeing something like that then, hitting the cities when we're in these dense populated zones.
Yeah, by electronically, and also with stuff from space. And a woman who has been abducted talked about. She said they seemed to be saying that they were preparing for an asteroid hit. So you see, there are multiple ways we've been put in position. We're not doing anything. We're not growing anything. Then we get splattered by things from space, and then there's no growing anywhere, no how. And I should say, okay, there are huge underground cities already in existence, under ocean floor cities in existence. And I'm saying, humans, if you want to survive as a species and go forward to the brilliance that we can accomplish, you gotta wake up, and you gotta talk to each other, and you gotta fight. You have to pull out the love and use it.
And so how is it that we best fight, Dr. Ed? They've got the interconnected...
It's an entire program. It's a stalking, harassment, surveillance, torture.
Marianne Stratton says she is a walking human experiment.
You can't go anywhere without somebody following you, knowing they know what you buy, they know what you purchase.
At this rally last summer, Stratton and others explained how the government monitors their thoughts through ultra-frequency radio waves sent by any energy source directly to the electromagnetic waves in their brains.
And like I said, they can tune it to any human that they want in this country, just like a radio frequency, like an FM station.
They say the waves can also control their minds and their bodies.
They can cause your heart to hurt, they can cause you blast your stomach, they can cause your ankles to give out, they can cause your knees to give out. Whatever they direct it to, wherever they can direct the pain to, your body feels all of it.
Why? They claim the government is perfecting mind control technology to use in war.
And it's all form of terrorism and torture to drive the targeted subject insane, to drive the human insane.
The government has confessed to similar operations in the past using LSD or hypnosis. Now, hundreds of self-proclaimed mind control victims say these documents prove...
Have you ever listened to that little voice in your head? Most people consider that their conscience, maybe their intuition. Have you ever listened to that little voice in your head? Most people consider it in California. Have you ever listened to that in California? Have you ever listened to that little voice in your head? Most people consider that their conscience, maybe their intuition in California. Consider that their conscience, maybe their intuition. But in tonight's special assignment, Ross Blackstone explains that voice may not be yours at all. Some say it could be the government controlling your mind.
Cheryl Welsh lives in Davis and studies law at Lincoln. She says she's also a victim of street theater, an experiment in which the government controls the minds of everyone around her.
Wherever I go about in my day, people will spit, swear, blow smoke in my face, basically 100 insults a day.
The purpose, Cheryl says, is to observe how she reacts so the government can study her mind and eventually use the same technology to control the minds of America's enemies. If that sounds crazy to you, Cheryl says the government is succeeding.
You discredit the enemy. You make them look like a kook. And if you can imagine the government's motive, if you can read a person's mind, you're not going to reveal that for anything.
She's not the only one. Cheryl has organized a group called Citizens Against Human Rights Abuse that has attracted hundreds of self-proclaimed victims from California and all over the world.
I'm just trying to organize, I guess, and gather the information and get the information out, because I don't think the public...
part of the problem is we're not dealing with a human, we're dealing with psychopathic humans, and then we're dealing with a mind which is in fact not human, and it regards us as animals. And then you begin to think, well, how do we treat animals? And you get nervous. I get very nervous about this.
RF device has been used for over 30 years to manipulate the moods of mental patients. It's called a LIDA machine. It radiates pulses of radio frequency energy, as well as light, sound, and heat. The pulse rate is in the extremely low frequency range, between 0 and 100 pulses per second. Dr. Ross Adey is the top researcher at the Veterans Administration Hospital in Loma Linda, California. He has been investigating the effects of the LIDA machine.
Now, what do the Soviets use this machine for? Well, they don't use it anymore. We should be very clear that this is a machine which is regarded by them as somewhat obsolete technologically.
This scientist, who did not want his identity revealed, is employed by the U.S. government and has done secret RF weapons research. He believes that tests done with the LIDA and similar machines prove that humans are susceptible to remote alterations of mood and awareness.
Certain kinds of weak electromagnetic signals work exactly like drugs. And so the promise is that anything you can do with drugs, you could do with the right electromagnetic signal.